All right, I am here with the owners of Vida Boa and School of Jiu-Jitsu here in Lake Jackson. Would you guys introduce yourselves, please?
Ladies first. I'm Jen Halfeld.
My name is Fernando Halfeld.
Okay, and they have so graciously agreed to let me ask them some questions about their business that they have here to offer. And Jen is actually a jack of all trades, I guess you could say. She has several different things that she's going to share with us, including their Açaí. I guess you could call it eatery, cafe. What do you guys want to call it?
It's the Açaí place.
Açaí place. And then their gym. So we'll get started with... can you guys just give us an overview of what your businesses offer?
Well, I think we should start with, we met because of Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
And it was like such a God thing. Like it was super cool because I was at a women's retreat for my church and I was talking to one of my friends and she said, you need to go to Jiu-Jitsu. Don't go to Taekwondo. It's so much more like realistic. Go do Jiu-Jitsu. Bring your kids there. I was like, yeah, okay. So I go expecting to see this guy who used to own the place in Angleton, and Fernando ended up walking out.
And that's when the butterflies went off. And
it helped that he was shirtless.
Oh man, well in shape. Well, and Fernando, where is your country of origin?
Brazil.
Yes. Okay. And in Brazil, is Jiu-Jitsu a big component?
Yes, the Jiu-Jitsu that we practice nowadays, it's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's originally from Brazil.
Awesome. Okay. What inspired you to create what you have here? So you actually have, so we can talk about the Vida Boa and we can talk about the School of Jiu-Jitsu. So what inspired you to create both of them together?
So first, I've been doing Jiu-Jitsu since I was a kid, like little kid. I was 9 years old, and I done Jiu-Jitsu competitive for many years. And when I was 17 years old, I decided to start a social project in Brazil and teach kids and use Jiu-Jitsu as a tool to bring kids from this really poor ghetto in my community to the church.
Oh wow!
And that's how my interest in teach Jiu-Jitsu started, and that's how I started teaching. And we still have the social project now there, and the instructor is one of my old students, and
wow.
Both of the business here send money there every single month to maintain the project, to pay for people that are working there, to buy food for the kids. So that's how the School of Jiu-Jitsu started, you know, like trying to serve the kingdom, and that's where my passion to teach Jiu-Jitsu, because I saw how good Jiu-Jitsu was for me, you know, like in my decisions, and I saw how good it would be for those kids there as well. And that's still been the reason why I teach Jiu-Jitsu, because I think, you know, there's some godly thing about it that really transforms people, and that's what I do. And the Açaí was really an opportunity with necessity. When we had our
5-year-old.
Our 5-year-old, Jennifer was working, and you know, we wanted her to be just with the kids, and the Jiu-Jitsu was not enough to cover our expenses. So I had an opportunity to, you know, to meet a distributor with the Açaí, really good Açaí. And like in a month before Jen went back to school,
your business blew up. Yeah.
We started this.
It was a whirlwind.
Wow. So that's actually a perfect segue. So I don't know of any other Açaí restaurants here locally. You can come on in. You're good. I don't know of any other Açaí restaurants locally. What makes yours unique? Obviously, it is unique in that it's a service that we don't really have. So can you kind of explain what Açaí is and why is it special?
Well, it's a fruit from Brazil, from the Amazon forest. Really popular in Brazil, just like Jiu-Jitsu is. We have acai shops all over the place in Brazil. And what make ours the best one is because we make just like we do in Brazil. It's really pure. It's just like the pure berries there. And different other places that add a lot of other fruits to it to make it cheaper. Or some places they even sell sorbet, so it's not a healthy product. And what
You
we
can
sell
even
here,
get it from the store, but it's more like a popsicle that it's just kind of like watery.
Yeah.
And so when you come and taste ours, it's just like you can actually feel like the seeds and like the pulp of it.
Oh,
And
I've
it's
had it, and
amazing.
it is amazing. Like
there's different like grades of acai that you can purchase. The ones you purchase in the stores, like things like C, and the one we sell here, it's like A grade.
Yeah, it's absolutely delicious. Can you? There's a menu actually on the table. If you don't mind holding it up, so that we can see just some things. So, thank you, Jen. So my favorite is the caveman right there up at the top because I love the almonds and the honey that go with it. But I also really enjoy getting the ollie. But with the ollie, I always add Nutella, which is super healthy. But I love the combinations that you guys have. Can you tell us maybe some of your favorites? Or if someone were to come in first time, what would you highly recommend?
Well, Jennifer can tell you better about the menu because she created all the
I did
menu.
create. So
You created them?
Yes.
Did
So
you
the
make
fun
up the names
thing-
too?
The what?
The names? Did you come up with the names?
Yes.
Okay.
So they're all actually named after our children, and then Jiu-Jitsu, basically.
Wow.
So Caveman is for my son Kalen. He's my oldest. He's 15. Pac-Man is for Paxton, who's 14. Ollie is for Oliver, who's 5. And we don't have one for our baby yet, but maybe we'll put one on.
Ooh, let's get some flavors. Yes, yes.
But I don't know. I think we tried to stay true to Brazil, but then and kind of bring some things like powdered milk. Who's ever heard of powdered milk on something?
When
It's
Christy,
amazing.
my cousin, told me about that, she was like, "Oh, you have to try it with powdered milk." I was like, "Powdered milk, like what we give
Right.
babies?" And she said, "Yes, trust me." And I did. And then my other friend, Trevian, she was the one that actually she highly recommended to come here. So because of her, here I am. So plug for Trevian. Thank you.
And it's super popular in Brazil to have the powdered milk.
So good.
And I mean, this is a little bit more fancy, I think, than they do in Brazil, right? Babe?
Yeah.
I mean, I love peanut butter. I do peanut butter and powdered milk because I try to keep it as low sugar as possible for me. But Caveman was the first one that I made, and I was like, I want something like super healthy and like pretty, and so that's what we made. And we put the chia seeds on top of it with the almonds and the berries, and I mean, I think that's our most popular seller. And
It's so filling.
yes,
It is so filling.
Yeah.
Even
That's my top one recommendation. If you never had acai before,
start there.
like the caveman doesn't have any topping that has a
Not
lot
like
of
weird.
sugar, like peanut butter, powdered milk, Nutella. So it's just like almonds and fruits. So you can real taste the acai.
oh, it's so good.
Now the other toppings like peanut butter, Nutella, powdered milk, toast coconut, they still making the acai really good.
Yeah.
But they're all gonna slightly change
Right.
the flavor of the acai.
Right. I absolutely love them. The first time I had them, I was like, where has this been my whole life? And the honey, I really like the honey. So what kind of feedback have you received from customers since you've opened? What are some things that they have enjoyed? What are some things that they want like added to the menu? Anything?
I think most of the people that have spoken to me are like, I tried to make it for myself at home, and they're like, we just can't
It's not
do
the
it.
same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
And it's really not. Like, I mean, you can go to other places. There are some places who have like acai on their menu somewhat like around here, but it's not Brazilian acai. It's not the pure grade that we have. It's just different. And I mean, maybe some people prefer that, but I mean, once you try this one, you're like, okay, this is
amazing.
different. Yeah.
This is amazing. So I hear there's going to be some relocating.
Yes.
So can you share just a little bit where you see your business evolving over the next few years?
Well, we're planning for the next maybe 6 months to be relocating. You know, like the next step we're doing with the business, we're in the process to build. We're about to start building already. We have been working on that for the past couple of years. And we're gonna be building a big structure right next to 45, CrossFit 45 in
Oh,
Ridgewood.
yes.
And we're gonna have more business. We're gonna have the Açaí. We're gonna have some ice plunge with sauna. We're gonna have some physical therapy there as well. So we're gonna have like a little strip mall.
That's
And,
awesome.
with like some
courtyard.
outdoor, with a courtyard, with outdoor area, with like a closed playground for the kids.
Wow. And this is opening where again?
In Ridgewood,
Richwood.
right.
288B.
It should be
Okay.
right by the CrossFit 45.
Awesome. That was my next question was what new services or expansions are you planning to introduce? But you shared those. So we'll finally have a fun little place for kids to go.
Yes.
Yeah, and I can see you guys are very, very family oriented. How many kids do you guys mind sharing how many kids you actually have?
We have 4.
4. And so being a family and running essentially 2 businesses, and Jen will get into your additional 2. What are some challenges that you've faced in running these kinds of businesses in the area?
Well, to run a business, the biggest challenge is be organizing. And so you're not sucked into the business and you're missing things in your life. So like have a balance. I feel that's the most important, and I feel like a lot of people try to get balance on their own, but one thing that I learned is the balance is always changing.
Yeah.
And the only way to find the right balance and keep the right balance is put a God in first place.
Oh, that's
Right?
beautiful. Yeah.
And he can help us to navigate, you know, and putting him in first place and be really organized and really intentional, you know, so we're not spending the entire time here and now playing with our kids and spend time as a family. And we're really good at that, you know. We are really blessed. We get to do a lot of stuff with our children. We get to see them growing up. Now, the challenge for the business around here, you know, it's a smaller community.
Right.
It's more like like a lot of people don't know about any
Yeah, that's what I
of
was
the
gonna
things
say.
we sell here.
Right.
You know, like Açaí is super new, so it would be a lot easier if we're selling tacos. Right? And,
Yeah.
everybody knows would be easier, right? Like
Right.
if you build something cool and good, people will be like, you don't need to teach them what it is.
Yeah.
And Açaí, we have to teach people, educate people,
Even
showing them
Jiu-Jitsu, too.
that's not just yogurt, you know. And Jiu-Jitsu is the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
Like majority of people that come here don't know what Jiu-Jitsu is.
Yeah.
You know, and
When my cousin started telling me that she was doing it, I was like, wait, what are you doing now? Is this wrestling? She was like, no, it's not wrestling. I was like, oh, is it working out? Is it CrossFit? Is it, honestly, like we're just ignorant when it comes to being cultured, you know, because we don't have those opportunities here.
yeah.
So, which is why I'm very thankful that you guys were willing to share what you have. So, okay, that's another perfect segue for this. So how can people in the future within the community help support what you have here? And like I said, Jen will get into yours here in just a minute. But what's one way that people can come support your business?
Help us to spread the word, you know, like
Share on social media, especially.
Share on social media. Well, first coming over here, you know, and trying out and see with your own eyes what we offer. And like you say, it's really easy for me to sell what I sell.
What you do, yeah.
Because I really believe in everything.
Yeah.
You know, I really believe in Jiu-Jitsu being an excellent tool to develop good human beings. Not mention being the best self-defense in the world. Nowadays, we develop a whole combat training here inside the gym. And now the sheriff's office has this training there that we develop, and the police academy from Brazos College. They spend like a whole week in here every semester. So all the new cadets, they're going through us to learn Jiu-Jitsu, so they can use it on the street. So just something that I really believe on it. And Açaí is something that I always love it. I always brought me and my friends together, you know, to have Açaí, and it's something super health that I love to feed my children.
No, I mean, and if you haven't been here in Vida Boa, like whenever the art that goes into creating the bowls and the cups,
so pretty.
It's so pretty. Like I could not even slice the bananas that well when they like lay. It looks like a shell. It's so pretty. So okay, well that leads into the next thing. Jen, you, as I said earlier, you are kind of like a jack of all trades. You had mentioned that there are two things that are near and dear to your heart, one being homeschool and one being volleyball. So we'll start with the homeschool. So what motivated you to start a homeschool cohort?
Well, Oliver Francis, stop it. So I love my children.
That's awesome. I love that.
I really do love my children, though. No, so in terms of homeschool, I was a public school teacher for years. I went through school out in California, and I started in high school. And let me tell you, it's wild out in California. Totally different than teaching here. I mean, it was such a huge blessing to come here and get to know the kids that I taught in public school here, because the whole yes ma'am, no ma'am culture is like so much better than the
than what's out in California. Yes. West Coast.
Yes. But you know, I mean, I think that there's really important things that happen in the public school system, and I don't think that I say that enough, but you know, when I was a public school teacher, I really spent a lot of time with children. Some of them didn't have good home lives. Some of them, like, if they homeschooled, you know, it would be awful for them because their getaway from what was going on at home was coming to me and telling me about it. And, you know, so I think that public school teachers, when they have the right heart and God in the center of their life, you know, they have such an important role in the community, obviously. That being said, there's so much bureaucracy and just total. I could see so many problems that was going on in government schools, and I did not want my children to be a part of it. Whenever I had a chance, I wanted to step out and actually teach my own children and become like the center of their lives and teach them the things that I know, when I felt like I was teaching everybody else's children and spending so much time as a teacher and a coach. I would get home and I'd have 2 hours with my kids, and you know, I feel like that's backwards. You know, I want to spend that much time with my kids and teach them, you know, even if I can't really do math that well, I still would.
Oh, same girl, same.
Same. Sit down with them and figure it out, you know, and I think that's the reason why I wanted to homeschool to begin with, is just that I love spending time with my kids. I love who they are as people, and I love just getting to see them grow. And it was always such a heartbreak for me to be seeing that in other kids, but then missing out on it with my own children.
Yeah.
So we started.
Hold on, I'm gonna pause you for just a second.
Okay. So in terms of starting our homeschool, we run Alliance for Homeschool Freedom of Brazoria County, and our mission is to support and educate women and parents in how to homeschool their own children. A lot of people don't know the steps to take to leave a public school. A lot of people don't know the rules that go behind homeschooling in the state of Texas. And we set out to make sure that the government really stays out of homeschool, because we have such wide freedom in homeschool in the state of Texas that we don't want the government. I mean, there's a reason why I left a public school, and it's because the government does not belong in my children's education. And so when we set out, we to create this program, this organization, we set out to take out and remove any part of the government interference with what homeschooling can be for these families.
Now, are you the one that came up with deschooling?
No, deschooling is a pretty well-known term inside of the homeschool community when you get involved more.
Okay.
And deschooling basically means that the idea behind what we think of as
A normal
publicly
schedule.
educated people, I mean, we as in the adults, have to change our view of what learning actually looks like. You know, because when we send our kids to those 8-hour days were not created for children. No, I mean, they were not. Sitting in a desk for 8 hours and getting like a half hour of playtime out, you know, after lunch is not created for children. That's created for testing, and that's created for women, for men and women to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, coming out of the public school system, I went all through my life, and I was a great student.
Mm-hmm.
But I also wasn't doing what they're doing now with all the testing and stuff like that. And I don't know how kids get through that. It's all just creating education for tests. And the learning that happens is not true learning when it's created to bubble in answers on a test.
Yeah, I can hear your passion in that, and I can empathize with that because I was a public school educator as well, and I'm a product of public education. Mm-hmm. So there's been a very dynamic shift in the way that I see kids being schooled now versus when I was in school.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just, it's tough. It is really tough. So how do you structure your curriculum? So you said versus a public school where you would see 8 hours a day sitting in a desk. How is your structured curriculum that you use?
So that comes into kind of deschooling, you know, like my kindergarten doesn't need to be sitting in school for 4 hours even a day to learn, you know. We spend,
and he's a boy,
so yes, lots of tactile running around,
getting it out,
learning with science projects, stuff like that. You know, so anywhere from I think my high schoolers do anywhere from 2 to 4 hours a day, and the rest of the time is filled with the stuff that they like to do: cooking, hanging out together as a family. They come here and do Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai. Today we're going over to CrossFit Fortify, and we're going to be working out later this evening now that volleyball's over. And
you are going to talk about that, right?
Yes, I am. I promise. That's
Okay.
the best one.
Yes. But that was something. So coming out of public school, it's just it's daunting. It could be very daunting for someone that's wanting to possibly pursue that option for their kids. And I know being here, you know, locally, there are a lot of just my personal friends that have chosen to do that. And that's the number one.
Huge community in our area.
And I mean, it's encouraging to know that that's an option. It's just like for me, personally, just starting out, if I were to do it, it's very daunting. It's like, well, where do I start? Where do I get the curriculum? What's my schedule look like?
The amount of freedom is like, it can be really scary. But then when it comes down to it and you get into it, you're like, oh wait, I don't need any help. No, government, stay back. I can do this myself because I know my children best. You know, and so that's our goal of Alliance, is just we have a very amazing group of we have 5 women, maybe 6 counting me, that we have all been homeschooling for years, and we sit down with anybody who needs help. We have monthly meetings, and anybody who needs help, they come and sit down and meet us at a cafe, and we will show them our favorite curriculum, talk to them about withdrawing from public school, talk to them about what goes into our daily activities. And
so you don't necessarily, like if I was starting out, I don't have to do this by myself.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
Yes,
that's the whole reason why we're here, is because we want to help everybody who wants to do it. We want to be on their side, helping, supporting, and advocating for them.
That's so perfect segue. So what resources and support do you provide, and how do you create a sense of community among the families that are within the cohort?
So, first of all, the women that are in Alliance have become some of my best friends. We spend time together. We talk all the time. And the group has done such a fabulous job of inclusion, and we open up our programs for just getting together. So we have days that we go to the park, and we had like the fire truck come and spray us all off for the end of the school year, or the beginning of the school year last year. We have get-togethers every month to talk about homeschool, to talk to new moms. Even some older homeschool moms come in and just like see what we're doing, look at the curriculum that we like to use. And then we also we are in our third year of our homeschool convention, and our homeschool convention expo is called Free to Homeschool, and we will have speakers. Ron Paul is supposed to come and have a little speaking segment. We have a huge used curriculum sale, and then we also have vendors from all over the area that are going to be coming in to talk about the things that they offer the homeschool community.
And you set this up here locally?
Yes, it's at St. Mark's Lutheran Church. That's on Willow Drive.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to be on June 22nd this year.
Awesome. Okay. Well, more information on that. I'll hopefully include a website.
Yes,
maybe
to
get
Facebook.
Yes, Facebook. Okay. And then my other question is, what do you see, or what would you like to see your kids coming away from being homeschooled? What is something that you would like to see them come away with as they go through the process of it?
Ooh, well, I think the biggest thing is that God is not allowed in our schools anymore. You know, they have one day of national prayer, right? That they go out and they prayer.
I mean, it's see you at the polls one day.
Right, yeah. And
we have a moment of silence, but.
Right. And I mean, I think we can all do a better job, but one of the biggest things for me about pulling my children was just that we can look at things from a biblical standpoint, and we can look at the world and teach, morals. And it's not necessarily sheltering our children, it's just preparing them from a biblical standpoint.
I love that.
So that they can go out into the world and they can be human beings that can give more to the godly kingdom.
No, I love that. That's beautiful. And Fernando, I know you've been kind of quiet, but do you have anything to say towards the homeschooling avenue that Jen's kind of let out? What are the benefits you've seen as a father?
Well, I was I was a little bit against at the beginning.
I love your honesty. Thank you.
Because I knew it wouldn't be easy, and that's what you think about it when you think about going to homeschool. But I really believe that we live in a world that has the culture of this world doesn't belong to the kingdom of God, so we're following a lot of structures that's not meant to us, and that's something that I've been seeing more and more with us homeschooling. Now I love the homeschool now, because I'm the one raising my children, not someone else.
Wow.
I've been teaching them, I've been disciplining them, I'm the one that's spending time with them, interacting with them, and making decisions for them, and I feel really blessed and grateful that Jen took the initiative to start homeschool our kids.
And what great support. I think a lot of times and especially I think, and this wasn't even planned, but I think what the enemy will try to do is something that's very good. I think what he'll try to do is kind of pull marriages apart because it seems too stressful, or it's not on the agenda of the other spouse and it doesn't make sense. But I love that you guys have brought this to make it very real, because you are running two very well functioning businesses, well, 3, technically 4. Thank you for correcting me. You are very, very involved, but you're also very involved with your kids. And I appreciate your transparency and sharing that. Okay, Jen, we're going to close with your heartfelt favorite. So please tell us and share with us about your volleyball association.
I run BC Rise Volleyball Club. BC stands for Brazoria County.
Yeah.
And we're going into our 3rd year as a program. And the first year, well, I should say, it began because I ran a volleyball program years ago, and all of my girls from that last team are now about 25, 26, maybe 27 now, and I am now friends with them. And one of them was working out with me, and I said, hey Jordan, if I start a volleyball program again, would you come coach for me? And she was like, yeah, of course I would.
Wow.
And her mom was actually our 12s coach, and she was like, but I get the 12s team. And I was like, deal.
Like ages?
Deal. Yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Right? Bless
her
heart. And so before I got home from the gym that day, I had 4 girls that still live around here were like, I'm on board. Like, when do we start? And we had a meeting, I think a month later, and we had tryouts like 2 weeks after that. I mean, it was just like one after another. And we started our first year with 9 teams, and this last year we had 12 teams. And
what are you anticipating for?
I have no idea what to think. I mean, to be completely transparent, I feel like we grew a lot really, really quick. And I love that we offer volleyball and really good technique, sound in terms of technique and fundamentals to anybody that really wants to learn and play. And I'm not sure if we're going to grow this year or not.
12 teams. I mean, that's a lot.
12 teams. I was expecting to get 4 or 5.
And
honestly.
what age? So that kind of leads into this question. But what age groups do you try to cater to?
So this past year we had as young as 8 and as old as 17.
Wow.
in our program. And so we had an 11s team, 2 11s teams, 2 12s teams, 2 13s, 2 14s, 2 15s, and then a 16s and 17s team. And we play all of our tournaments are up in Houston, in the Houston area.
And you organize all that?
I organize all that. I do have a very good group of people that help me. Last year I was doing it really by myself, and halfway through the year the right people kind of came and were willing to help more with what we were doing. And so I do have an assistant director now, Erin Ruiz, who is amazing. And I have 2 others that help, like, kind of on the back end of things. Like, you don't get to see them very much, but they're involved in every decision that we make. So I do have a lot of help. It's not just me.
So you answered this question already, kind of, but how has the local community responded? You said your first year you went starting at 9,
mm-hmm.
and then the next year you are at 12, mm-hmm. and now it's like you have no idea. But what do you predict, or what would you like to see for your volleyball association from the community?
Well, I think the biggest thing for us is that we're really trying to grow from the bottom up, if that makes sense, because it's hard to come in and start with the older kids and create the same culture that we envision. And
you're talking about with the younger ones?
With the younger ones. Mm-hmm. So we're offering a 2nd grade through 4th grade camp this year. And that's going to be on Sunday afternoon/evening. And it's like for them to come in and really see what volleyball is. We have a great program in Lake Jackson called TAF, and that's put on by the Lake Jackson Rec Center. But it really is just recreation volleyball. You know, parents come in and they teach, and they don't, when you're a parent, I taught soccer for my kids, coach soccer for my kids, and good Lord, I had no idea what I was
I
doing.
think like for Upward, I did like cheerleading once, and no.
Like spirit fingers.
Yeah, that's all I know. That's
Wonderful
yell
job.
and jump. That's all I know. Yeah, no, exactly. But that, like,
So we try to be a little bit more refined. Our
Yeah.
coaches are gold medal squared certified. We go to the national convention every year for volleyball coaches called the AVCA convention, and we really try to be very as professional as possible in what we're doing for volleyball.
so Fernando, do you have any input in this? Do you help coach? Do you help organize? Do you keep the kids while she's at tournaments? Like, how do you guys balance that? I mean, this is literally four businesses that y'all juggle.
He does a great job because he really does step in and help me, like when
It just reminded me of like on couples retreat where it's like, what do you love most about your husband? He's a great dad. It's like, oh, but no, in all seriousness, I mean, that's a lot of responsibility.
Okay, I'll answer it later.
Hi.
Thanks, buddy.
I think he's got, do you have some Nutella on your face?
So, Açaí and
Oh, he
Nutella
always
everywhere.
do.
Delicious, yes. But how do you guys manage that? I mean,
It's a lot of juggling,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, that was a dream for myself too. Like since I live off something that I love it, that's Jiu-Jitsu. That's something that I always want to live off it, and that's why I moved from Brazil to US and pursuing this dream and knowing how passionate Jen was for volleyball. That was something that I always desired to for her, that one day we could start the club. It was like not on the time I
Yeah.
thought it would be,
I kind of pushed him into it a little.
It was kind of like the homeschool thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
one day she's like, I
But,
think I'm gonna start a
literally-
club.
Yeah, it literally wasn't on the radar, and then hey, boom,
And-
we're doing volleyball now.
And
y'all are both like CEO minds. Like y'all are both dreamers, and I love that both of you have been able to bring your dreams to reality. How long have y'all been married? This wasn't even for the marriage podcast.
Yeah.
This is just for the business podcast, but how long have y'all been married?
8 years.
Almost 8 years. In 5 months, it'll be 8 years.
Congratulations. I love what you, first of all, I love being able to meet you guys and hear your passion behind what you are bringing to Brazoria County. To close out, what would you offer or what would you say to someone that's new to, like, coming from a big city, looking to grow a family, looking to engage in their community? What would be something that you would encourage them with?
Well, I'm fully blessed that God brought me here. A lot of people, when they come here and meet me and know that I'm from Brazil,
They're like, what are you doing here?
90% of the question is like, how you end up here.
How did you end up here? Yeah.
And my answer is always like, God brought me here 100%. Like He drove me to this place. And I was really scared at first when I first came here, my first week in the area.
You're going to be carried off by mosquitoes.
I was in Angleton, where I love it, Angleton. But I was there. I didn't have a car. I had a bicycle. I was living inside the gym, and I didn't know much thing around. I didn't know if there was young people around, and so it was pretty scary coming from big cities, living big cities, to a small place where I didn't know anybody, or am I gonna have friends here? Am I gonna have things to do around here? But I'm fully blessed. It's a pretty safe place. For sure it has violence, has crimes, but way less than anywhere else. And it's just like this place that gives a great quality of life, no stress, no traffic. Everything is closed, even if you go from one
city to the
one
next.
city to
Yeah,
the
we call
next.
Brazosport College the University of UCLA. So it's University of Clute, Lake Jackson, Angleton. Because everything's just within, so close to each other. But I love your transparency and your honesty. And Jen, if you will give your words of insight of what.
Yeah. In terms of if you're moving here, like you get the best of both worlds here, because we are a small community, but at the same time we're growing, and there's so much to offer. When I came here, I moved here almost 16 years ago, and from California, and
So both big cities.
Yes.
I mean, both really big places.
I went to school outside of LA.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we have a freeway that connects, all the way down into Freeport now.
Yeah, I know. It goes all the way from Houston to Freeport,
Yeah,
Surfside.
it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And, we have so many amazing restaurants and places for kids to go. We have the biggest and best homeschool communities. We have everything that you can really get in Houston, but just on a smaller scale in our area. And the people here are amazing.
I mean, look, these are two business owners right here. Are they not incredible people?
Incredible.
Yes. Well, guys, I just want to thank you again so much for, and I also want to commend you on your workers who, she's sitting here behind me. You can't see her, but I'll probably try here. Let's see if we can span over. Say, hey, girl, hey. She's beautiful. I told her, I was like, wow, you look so exotic. You fit in this place. But I just want to thank you guys so much for just your transparency, your willingness to share your story. And I will definitely put on, what is your Instagram for Vida Boa?
Vida Boa Açaí.
Okay, so VIDA.
BOAACAI.
Yes. Okay, so I'll be sure to tag you guys in that. And then Jen, do you have any on Instagram? Any tags on Instagram?
We have one. I don't use it. I think it has 4 different things,
Okay.
pictures on it. But we use Facebook mostly for both Alliance for Homeschool Freedom and for BC Rise.
Okay. All right. For BC Rise, real quick, I forgot to ask, what is the, if someone were to join, would they go through the Facebook website, or what's cost-wise?
Oh, cost. So club volleyball is expensive, and although it is less expensive than the Houston clubs, and they do get the same thing that the Houston clubs get. But our travel teams, our teams that are going to be traveling the most in Houston, are going to be starting at $2,900 this year for this whole season. So it's a 6-month season.
Yeah.
And it's $2,900, and then it goes down and drops down as
The ages?
as you go down in the age. Yeah. So the 11s or 10s are going to be $1,800, I think.
But that's for 6 months.
That's for 6 months. So
Yeah.
it does get broken up into payments.
Yeah.
And you do get discounts for paying all up front.
Okay. All right. Well, again, I want to thank you guys so much. This is Meg Speir Realtor, and I just want to thank you guys for taking a listen, like, and subscribe. And thank you so much, Jen and Fernando, for your time. I really appreciate you guys. Live Vida Boa and Jiu-Jitsu and Rise and Alliance. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right. Bye.